This is the new facelifted BMW iX. Yes, it still has that grille, but we're in sunny Barcelona to see if BMW's biggest electric car still has what it takes to take on its biggest rivals.
Because this updated iX doesn't just have existing rivals like the Mercedes EQE and Volvo EX90 to face, it's also gained a very handsome new rival in the Polestar 3.
So let's start with how it looks. Well, look at the front. Yes, let's cover this grille off straight away. To me, it's a bit like the Mona Lisa. You kind of can't stop staring at it and you're not really sure why, but I think it's growing on me and it does look good. And with this new car, they've added this illuminated light that goes all the way around, sort of makes it a bit more aggressive on the road. And then they've changed the inner bits here. They used to be kind of triangles and now they're stripes. And I think it sort of ties it all really nicely. And then the badge at the front, underneath, is actually where you put the washer fluid. Who knew? And then the lights here have been slightly revised, lovely LED lights, and then you've got this aggressive M Sport package front splitter here, and these vents here, just sort of ties it really nicely, gives it that proper BMW sporty look. You've come around here, you've got lovely big wheels. You see how long this car is. This is a full, almost 5 meters, so it's entering Range Rover territory, which is quite impressive. You've got these recessed door handles here, which the old car had, which I think look really nice, and they feel really nice when you open the door. You've got these gold accents along the car we've got here, which makes it feel a lot more premium. And if we come around to the back, first here, you've got this embossed iX badging, just so you can let people know how rich you are. Now the car I'm driving today is the xDrive 45 model, which is actually the entry-level car, but you wouldn't believe it when you drive it. Now there are 3 different trims. This is probably the one I'd recommend for most people, but if you really want proper performance, you're gonna want the M70. Right, let's have a look at boot space, because that is why you would buy a car of this size. First things first, I don't know about you, but I think this design looks a bit like a Fiat 500, or maybe an Abarth 595, just by those little lights there, which are, so when you've got the hazards on, the boot open, everyone can still see you. Now, the actual boot space itself is 500 litres, with plenty of storage under there, so you can store your charging cables, because of course, this is an electric car. It's got a nice little shelf there, really deep boot, the seats can go down really easily. Overall, it's just going to be a very, very easy car to live with, especially with a boot that big. You could probably even get a dog or 2 in there. Now let's be honest, the reason you're going to buy a car as luxurious as this is for its interior. And we're lucky with this car because it's got a lovely sort of terracotta leather interior, which I love. But just look at the car. So you've got frameless doors, a button to open it, frameless doors that go all the way around, crystal seat controls, because why not? Lovely steering wheel, it's got a nice flat bottom. There is an optional round steering wheel on the M Sport models, but I quite like the basic one that it comes with. I say basic, it's still got everything you need. Got touch capacitive buttons as well as some physical ones too. In front of you, you've got really large dual screens that are floating, as well as this central console here, which also floats, and I think looks a bit like Pride Rock from The Lion King. And it's obviously split opening, so people from both sides can easily reach in and grab stuff. In the central compartment here, you've got this crystal knob that you can kind of switch around, and that controls the iDrive infotainment system, which is, you know, faultless. If you've driven a BMW before, you'll know how good that is. You've got a nice little bit of wood here, more crystal stuff. Crystals everywhere, I've just realised. You've got a wireless charging pad down here, which is really useful just to put your phone on, but sometimes it can get quite hot. So I have noticed that you can balance your phone in there, and there are 2 USB-C ports down there, so you can just plug and charge your phone straight away. Overall, it's a really, really nice interior. And before we hop in the rear seats, let me just show you how impressive this car is. Look, this isn't just black, it's actual carbon fibre, and that can also be seen in the boot and in the front. So it just shows how much attention to detail BMW has put in, and also how much money they've poured into this car. Just because it's luxurious in the front does not mean BMW's forgotten the rear seat passengers. In fact, I think they might have a better deal. It's really comfortable. I have loads of space. I'm 6'3". I've got tons of headroom, tons of legroom. My feet are really comfortable. It's going to be great for families. Plus, there's little ISOFIX mounts here, but they are actually hidden. So you've got this little tab that you pull up there and you can easily slot in the seats there. You've also got this that comes down when there isn't a third person in the middle, with cup holders that pop out there, which is all very nifty. And then on the backs of the seats, you've got little USB-C ports and a little slot in there for more charge. Don't know what that is. You've got USB-C ports here, which are really useful. And then down here, proper digital climate controls with buttons, but there is a screen, so it gives you all your temperatures. And then a very handy little storage unit there for books, iPads, whatever the kids are playing these days. And you've also got air vents on the side here, and a really, really powerful Bowers & Wilkins sound system. So what's it like behind the wheel of the BMW iX? Well, it's exactly as you expect. It's such a nice car to drive. It's smooth, it's quick and responsive. It's just exactly what you want. Now this car gets the optional air suspension, which means it soaks up lumps and bumps in the road so easily, and it's just a pleasure to drive. But my favorite bit isn't actually the suspension. It's a bit nerdy, it's a little bit childish, but I just love the sound. Are you ready for it? We'll wait until it's straight. 3, 2, 1. I mean, it's just an electric car that makes a sound is just joyful to me. I can't really explain it. Just listen to it. I think it's brilliant. It just feels so composed on the road. It doesn't feel jittery at all. I mean, you would hope not for a car that weighs as much as the Moon. But overall, it's just brilliant to drive, and the range is superb. I've not seen any issues at all. We got 92% battery, and it's showing 451 kilometers, which, you know, in miles is Moon miles, basically. It's incredible. The steering itself is really direct. This has the flat bottom steering wheel. There is also the sportier, the M Sport circular steering wheel, sort of completely circular without the flat bottom. I'm gonna be honest, I prefer the flat bottom. I always have done. It reminds me of the older, well, and the newer Volkswagen Golf GTIs. Just gives it that slight sporty edge. And on these roads, it just feels great. If you've driven a BMW before or a Mini, you'll know how good these steering wheels are, and I cannot fault them at all. Should we get a bit of that noise again? Go on then. It's great, I love it. I'll tell you what, this is quick, and this isn't even the M70 version. This is just the xDrive 45, the entry-level car. It's ludicrous. He's so smooth, round the bend. Even on these tight roads that would normally be reserved for something like a Porsche Boxster, or I don't know, even the Mini Cooper convertible that I've also driven this week. For the size and weight of it, it doesn't handle bumps like it should do. It handles bumps, corners, everything in a very composed manner. And I do a very little quick spurt to 50. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, goodness me. Spain, are you taking new residents? Because I'd quite like to move here. This is delightful. Now, if you're buying a car like this, you're not going to be after proper horsepower figures, power figures, Newton meters of torque, all of that nonsense, because it's not going to care to you really, unless you go for the M70 version perhaps. But yeah, you're not going to be short of power, and it's got plenty of poke when you need to overtake people on the motorway or whenever, and yeah, you're not going to ever need to worry about that in one of these. A nice little bit of regen braking as well, which helps, you know, put a bit of juice back into the battery, but it also just, you know, gives your foot a bit of a break, so you just need to worry about accelerating. Now, after spending some time with the new BMW iX, there are some key changes that I've noticed. A, it's more aggressive. B, it's got more power. C, it's got great range. And D, the interior is just fantastic. However, it is quite expensive. You're looking at over £70,000 for starting price. It's quite a lot of money. So if you want to be able to feed your kids at the end of the month, maybe you consider something like a Peugeot E5008. If you want to find out more, check out our full video here.